Okay, guys, I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. It looks like we got a good group here. First off, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jackie Hurt. I'm a pre-sales engineer here at Inova, and I will be doing the demo here in a little bit. But just really quick, I also want to introduce Corey Grove, who is our CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. He will be first going through the new lovely updates of the ServiceTitan integration with Inova. But before we jump into that, I just want to let you guys know, please utilize the chat, please utilize the questions. We are going to open up for a live Q&A after the demo and allow you guys to speak, or please just throw it in the chat too. But we'll have a live Q&A after the demo. With that being said, I'll pass it to Corey Grove.
All right. Thanks, Jackie. Welcome, everyone. It's good to join you. My responsibilities at Inova are threefold. I have the sales organization that reports to me and that's traditional for Chief Revenue Officer, but I also have two other business units. One is our implementation organization, and another is our professional services team that is responsible for developing all of our integrations, including the ServiceTitan integration. So I thought I would come in and speak to what our team has developed on the integration side of things. I do unfortunately have to drop off after I finish my portion of it. I had another commitment but I wanted to be at least here for this first part. But if there's anything I can answer for you personally, please just let Jackie or Jackie know after I depart, and I will follow up with you individually as well. So let me pop into a couple of slides that I want to show everyone. All right, so when it comes to the ServiceTitan integration, we developed really two main sort of paths for the integration. One is payroll processing integration, and the other is employee technician integration. This first slide here speaks to our payroll integration. When it comes to the payroll integration, we have a couple of sort of workflows that we've built in here. Our clients that are using our platform, by and large, not everyone does this, but the majority of the clients that are using us have their employees. They have most of your employees is in the field services industry or out in the field. They're using our mobile app. There's a really nice ability to look at your time off balances, request time off, have your manager look to see, do you have the time, and approve that time off. When that time off is approved in our system, we update the dispatch board and ServiceTitan. So it comes over. Really, there's one of two methodologies that we use for updating the dispatch board. One is if the employee requests off a full day, we will ask you to define what that full day start time is. So let's say it's 8 a.m. We will put a non-job time entry into the dispatch board for 8 hours, say starting at 8 a.m. And then that'll show up on your dispatch board. It'll also show we're working on, we don't have this done yet. We are just literally meeting with our developers this morning on this. We want to push all of the notes too that were that were part of the request. Like, what did the employees say that when they were making the request? What did the manager say when they were approving it? We'd like to add those to ServiceTitan, so we're working on that as an enhancement. But that's on its way. Once at the end of your pay period, weekly, biweekly. We can do this even if you're biweekly. We can do this every week, but we typically do it once a pay period. As we consolidate your time off, your commissions, and your work time, and we bring those together and we can post those, we would post those into payroll. I put in here some notes just to indicate that there are some things that we can do as the time is being pushed over to payroll. One of our clients that we're in the process of rolling this out to, we finished this integration last month, and we're working on getting it deployed to some clients as we speak. One of the use cases was that this particular client wants to auto deduct 30 minutes for lunch from their technicians, but that's not a supported feature, I don't think, in ServiceTitan. So they're not. So what we're doing for this client is we're deducting after this time is being consolidated. Prior to getting posted, we're auto deducting the lunch, and if that person had overtime as a result of that, we're deducting from the overtime and doing some custom calculations. So we're just sort of scratching the surface where, as use cases come up as to what things might need to be done between the point of the time off, the work time, and the commissions being consolidated and pushed into payroll to the payroll push. So employees request time off, it gets approved, it goes on to their timesheet in Inova, reduces their time off balance, gets pushed into ServiceTitan, shows up on the dispatch board, and then that's brought together with their work time and their commissions and posted to payroll. And that completes that cycle. And then you guys would be able to preview the payroll. Jackie will get into some of those things, I believe, in the demo, but she'll be able to show you once that comes in, how do you actually make sure everything looks good and finalize the payroll. The next slide here touches on how we integrate employees. So we have, as you guys are aware, ServiceTitan looks at things really, people as two different types, right? You're either an employee or a technician. And so the types of things that we share with ServiceTitan on the front end are a little bit different based upon the role that person has, so, or the type of person. So when they're a technician, you can see here, I won't read everything, but what things that we push over as a new technician is hired. We have a subset of that, a lot of the same things, but you'll notice like business unit isn't part of the technician profile, but it is part of the employee profile. We do have to be careful though, because when you're like as an administrator, if you need to see every business unit in ServiceTitan, we can't send over a business unit for an administrator, because then that restricts your ability to see activity on other business units on the dispatch board and other things. So we have some settings in there to accommodate those things. And then we're working with ServiceTitan on an ongoing basis on enhancements to what things we push over to ServiceTitan. Late Q4, ServiceTitan is going to release some updates to their integration, their API, that are going to allow us to enhance this integration by adding things like hourly rate, manager, team, main zone, payroll ID, which is going to replace the use of the memo field up here, the pay type, and the truck. Now, one thing that always comes up is, do I have to send everything over? And the answer is no. I mean, there could be scenarios where you don't want to send the hourly rate because you don't want that to be seen by others. And so we can in fact choose what we want to send over. There's some things like, I believe it's email. There's some things that are required fields for us when we send them over, which we have to send, but we can pick and choose from there what we do. And the synchronization events include new hire, employee updates, and termination. We update every 15 minutes, and we support the integration, not ServiceTitan. So Inova will support that for you. So if you have any issues that come up, you can just reach out to your account manager with us, and they can submit a request for us to take a look at any issues with the integration. So that's for new. When it comes to updates to existing, Um, we've pared down the items that we update for existing employees and technicians under the assumption, based on our use cases we've seen so far, is that once that information is pushed into Service Titan, it seems to me, or seems to the clients we're working with thus far, that that's where you want to manage that information. If that changes and we see different use cases over time, we can add some of these fields that are not on this update slide to the update. But as it stands today, these are the fields that we're updating, so that if you make a change to someone over in Service Titan, we're not going to override that with a change that was something that you might update in our system. So we're trying to be conscientious to make sure that we're not making changes that are unwelcome once we push them over. So those are really the two things that I wanted to touch on before I jumped off. One is, of course, the payroll integration. The other is the employee integration. And then, we have a lot of other things that we meet with Service Titan on a biweekly basis. We are continuously looking at ways to enhance the value for our clients mutually. Get in with the integration being very centric to that value proposition. So with that, I'll turn it back to Jackie. If there's any questions, anything that comes up, Jackie, directed for me, I will follow up individually after the webinar. So
Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it.
you bet. Thank you.
Thank you. So Corey's going to jump off, but please let me know if you want to speak to him afterwards. I'll connect with him like you said. But
thank you.
Now we're gonna go through the Inova demo, and I'm gonna kind of hit on all the points that Corey spoke about. So let me get my screen share. Give me one moment, and I'm actually gonna turn off my video because I heard it makes it like a larger screen for you guys. So give me 1 second. Okay. So with our system, as hopefully you could see this, let me up so I could see anything that pops up. So what you're looking at right now, this is your technician side or your employee side. This is where we're going to start. And then I'm going to show you the HR administrative side so you could get that view as well. So on the technician side or on the employee side, this is a visual of what it could look like. This is what you get with our product right out of the gate. But of course, it's a very customizable system, so we could do a lot with it. And also everything you're seeing is Inova branded, but of course we'll put your logos, your colors to match your branding in the system. And one other big feature is this is our desktop, but we understand Service Titan technicians. They are out in the field. They are not going to be at desks. So we do have a phone app that comes with this. So everything I'm showing you can also be on the phone app. And the phone app is going to look and act exactly the same. So for example, let me just kind of show you. It's just going to go whatever device they're on. If it's a tablet, if it's a desktop, if it's a phone, it's just going to flow with the device, and all of the views are going to be the exact same regardless. So I just wanted to hit on that, but everything I'm showing you can for sure be on the mobile app for your technicians employees. But let me walk through the employee side, the day in the life of a technician. So really, your technicians will be able to do a lot. There's a lot of employee self-service that's available to them as much as you want. So they will be able to view their pay history. If they call you and ask for pay statements, they can view these directly from the app. They could even print and download them directly from the app as well. And then any year-end documents. So if we're doing your ACA, your 1095s will be out here, and your W-2s will be out here. Any year-end documents will be available to them directly from their phone app where they can print and download them at their house. One thing I do want to hit on is what Corey spoke about earlier, the accrual. So if a technician needs off work, they can easily come out here and view their balances. And they could also view the time off calendar. So if they want to check the time off calendar and see when all the other technicians are off, before they submit the request, they could double check it and make sure that they can ask off, because we do have time off planning in the system as well. So what that's going to do for you is you can tell the system, I only want 3 people off on this day or 5 people off on this day. And if there's already the allotted amount approved, it will stop them from submitting. So that's a pretty normal thing that's set up. So really, they'll be able to view all the calendars, um, and then any accrual detail or time off history. So if they call you and have questions on why their balance is what it is, they will be able to easily see what the balance details are and what they have already taken and have not taken. And all that could be directly within here. And when they request off, they can easily just choose what code that we want to call it. So if you offer PTO or state sick or anything like that, we can name it whatever your policy is, and they'll have those buckets available to them to request. And when they request off, they'll choose the day and then submit that request through a workflow for approval. And once whoever it is approves it, usually it's their team lead, their manager, once that is approved, it will update their balances in real time if you want to, and it'll flow to payroll. And just like Corey said earlier, it will also block them out on the dispatch board. So really, you have one all-encompassing area for your accrual balance. Some other helpful things that some clients decide to deploy is your technicians can view all sorts of stuff in here. They could view a total compensation statement. They could view any performance reviews that have gone on in the company. They could set goals between themselves and their managers. A couple things, these are probably the most, when I work with ServiceTitan clients, these are probably the most used. Any incidents for OSHA, any safety incidents that occur, or any just sort of write-ups or verbal warnings. They could have visibility into that if you want them to. And then also, you can track all your training, certifications, credentials. That's only going to help you, because every ServiceTitan client I work with, they say if they lapse on these credentials, they're out an employee. So really, the tracking them and putting in the system is helpful, because we could set out alerts 6 months in advance, 90 days in advance, to as many parties as possible, letting people know that they're about to lapse on a credential or training. Some other helpful things is they could also request certain things. It's up to you. So if you want them to be able to request withholding changes or direct deposit changes, I just worked with a client where they wanted to be able to submit uniform changes or tool requests. If they broke a tool or lost a tool, they could request that. So think about all the things you can request. It's customizable, and it could go through a customizable workflow for approval. And then lastly, just with the product, you get your company directories, you get your org charts, you get your company events, announcements, and documents. The company directory I tend to find helpful, especially for us. I'm sure technicians too. They'll be able to see pictures if you load your technicians' pictures. They'll be able to see what business unit they're in, what manager they have, so they can easily review the company directory there. And then with the product, you also get your company intranet. So the company hub is really a company intranet for your employees. You could tell them a lot of things, company event coming up on this day and go here. We have on-demand pay now, Zayzoom. You could do links, documents, photos, images, anything you want out here. I always tell clients, what are the frequently asked questions you get? Because if it's like, what's my holiday? What's our holiday table? What's our pay schedule? They can easily, you can easily put those things within here for it. And then also you gain an onboarding, a personalized onboarding area. So if you're able to hire your technician like a couple days early before their first day, they could do all their onboarding from the comfort of their home, just doing it from their phone. So think about everything you could tell them before the first day. You'll be able to tell them, welcome to the team. You could even embed a cute little video in here, featuring your CEO or something, where they need to go their first day, what they need to bring their first day, maybe what your dress code is or what you're going to provide them when they get there. And of course, what the first day agenda is. So you could provide all sorts of stuff to kind of help with the first day jitters and also to collect all of the lovely onboarding paperwork prior. So in here this is probably what's most important to people that are in HR right now. You could do all of your paperwork electronically. This is just an example of what I'm about to show you, but really you can have the employees fill out the rest of their file for you. So if you want to collect t-shirt size, sweatshirt size, pant size, that's pretty normal to do. You could have them fill out their address and personal phone number. If you're over 100 plus or under, you could start collecting EEO information, because if you do that, this stuff is not just stuck in onboarding land. It's actually going to update their file. And then with EEO1 information, you could file the EEO1s electronically at that point. So all this stuff is updating their file in real time. Emergency contact information you could collect. And as they submit these things too, it's just going to pop them to the next item. So it's not like they're going to get stuck, is what the point I'm trying to get to. It's very user friendly. It'll keep kicking them to the next piece of the puzzle. The I-9 is very normal for them to fill out as well. If they try to submit it, again, it's very user friendly. It's going to flag them and tell them exactly what they have to fill out. And then this could be submitted to someone internally to look at the documents and fill out the employer section. And just a couple other things that they can definitely do in here is they could do all their withholding. The federal withholding, as you guys know, nobody knows how to fill out this form. Nobody, not even people in HR. So we tend to go more questionnaire style. So how many children do you have? Are you single or married? Stuff that almost explains it to them as they go, and it will help them fill out the form. All your state withholding could be in here too. I'm in Missouri, that's why it popped up Missouri, but wherever they're at, it will pop up the state that is involved in their address and or their work location. Of course, you could do direct deposit in here. You can have multiple direct deposits. We also offer pay cards because that's pretty interesting to service Titan clients, so I just wanted to highlight that. And then just really any custom policy that you want them to sign off on, like a handbook acknowledgement, maybe a safety acknowledgement. You can have different experiences for different people. So if you have technicians signing off on safety policies, they can get those, but maybe your office people don't. So you can have different experiences and different checklists for everybody. And they're signing off on all of these documents. And all of these documents are going to drop into their employee file, which I'll show you here later. So I just wanted to show you kind of what onboarding could look like for you guys. And what some clients do for onboarding is build out their benefit enrollment too. So you can connect benefit enrollment, and we do have a fluid employee navigator connection because a lot of brokers like to utilize that too. So if you have any questions on what we could offer on benefits, please ask your sales consultant here. Okay, so that's really the employee side, the technician side. So now I'm going to jump to your side, the administrative side, so you can see the day in the life of HR, what you guys will be doing, what finance, everybody from this perspective. Just to kind of give you a quick lay of the land here, you'll have some very easy buttons, stuff that clients use day to day: hire, terminate, password reset. You'll have some great company calendars, time off calendar, anniversary, birthday, holidays. And then you'll also have a great report hub. But before I jump into the report hub, I just want to quickly show you a couple things that a lot of our ServiceTitan community uses. So if you ever hear us say employee information, these are your employee files. So all your employees will be in one database. I tend to find when I work with ServiceTitan clients, they have multiple companies. So I just wanted to point out, if you have multiple EINs, it's still one login and one area with all your employees. So you can filter, if you just want to look for one EIN, you can filter those out. But you have one database with all your employees. You don't have to toggle between anything. One other feature in this area is you will be able to mass communicate with your employees. You can mass communicate via email and or text in here. So you can always mass communicate with your employees. And one other feature you are going to gain is you will be able to log in as your employees. So if an employee calls you and is stuck on something, you can log in as them and see exactly what they need help with. So this is more your employee files. And one other feature I just want to hit on is everywhere in the system, everywhere you go, there will be this ellipses right here. As you can see in your view right here, it just has their name, department, location, hourly pay, and job. This ellipses can build upon your views. And everywhere in here you could filter, and all of the data in all of the areas of the system, it's almost one big report, the whole entire system. So if you want to add and remove columns, maybe it's a perfect view. Everything on the right is already in there, but you have so many options to build upon your views and build reporting. So maybe you're just missing their manager. Maybe, if I could spell, that'd be great. Maybe you just want to know their manager's name and who they report to. You can easily bring those columns in and have it right there. And then if you want to, and if you want this always there, you can always save your view as your own default, so you don't have to keep on adding that every single time. And then also, everything in our system is exportable in any format at any time. So we don't lock down any data. You can export this whole thing into a spreadsheet if you want to. And of course, if you save this area, it will always be in your report hub. So I'll show you that here in a second. But really, I just wanted to show you what the employee file area looks like. And then just quickly, I'm going to jump into an employee file so you can see what that looks like as well. Of course, this is customizable too, but this is what you get right out of the gate. So the very first tab is usually your employee information, your social, your address, if they need to sync to ServiceTitan or not, and what their hire dates and management is. But the payroll tab is something that you could be doing work in. If you want to add a base compensation, a raise, a demotion, a correction, if you want to add any earnings, any scheduled earnings, you could do that. The most, I would say, when I work with ServiceTitan, they usually have some sort of a tool deduction with a goal set. We could also help you with your tool deduction and make sure that the goal will set correctly. What that's going to do is if they purchase a tool from you, essentially you can just add that deduction in here and set a goal. So maybe they get $50 a paycheck deducted, but it's a $1,000 tool. So once they hit that $1,000, it will just stop the deduction altogether and automate the stopping of it. So tool deductions is pretty normal too. And then also any change you make will be in the audit trail. You have a full audit trail, so you can always see when you made the change or who made the change as well. So I'm going to go back home. Anytime you click your logo up here, it'll take you back to the front. But the other thing I want to hit on is the report hub. So you have, depending on what product you get, you have about, I would say 160, 170 canned reports. Of course, you can build a report from scratch, but the canned reports you could still customize. So I always, how I usually build reports is really it has keyword search capability. So if you want to search for turnover or deduction or compensation, you could quickly search those keywords and then it's going to pull in all the reporting matching that criteria. And then you would pick and choose which report works best for you. This reports our base compensation history. It has everyone's reason of demotion or promotion, what the percentage of raise or demotion was, what the amounts are. This is a great report, but as you can see, you always have the action to add more to it. So you can always add and remove columns in anything in our system, and you can always filter. And if you spend about 5 minutes on a report, save it, because when you save it, it will always end up in your My Saved Reports in your report hub. So even if you save views or anything like that, it will always end up here. So you're kind of building a repository in here for all your reporting. And what you're going to gain from saving it is you can schedule it. So I just worked with a Service Titan client where they wanted all turnover reports to go to their CEO monthly. So think about all the things you could kind of automate. If you catch yourself going into the system and exporting a report and emailing it to someone, this is what will cover that administrative task. You can have it go weekly, monthly, quarterly. It could go to this group of people or to yourself. I schedule reports to myself all the time. And you can have it go in any format you choose. And then it could be from whatever email address and whatever title and message you want to put with that. And all these can kind of automate your administrative tasks here. So that is the report hub. And just a couple other things just quickly that I want to touch on that you get with our product is on the administrative side, on the HR side, the onboarding and offboarding it could be very important to you to see a visual as a whole. So you'll be able to see all your employees going through onboarding or going through offboarding. You'll be able to see I-9s you still need to process, withholding you still need to process. And of course, these graphics are not just for looking at them. You could click into them. Whoever the no is are the people that haven't finished it. And you can look and see what task has been assigned to who. And we could help with notifications to alert them that they still haven't finished their onboarding process. And I didn't even hit on this. I just want to hit on it really quick. But I know I just showed you the employee side of the onboarding, but really you can deploy internal tasks. Like termination is probably the most normal, or hiring, where internally you want to deploy that this person needs to collect, this manager needs to collect assets from that employee. This new hire needs to get an email. You can have internal tasks just as much as employee-facing tasks. You and your managers, if you would like, will be able to see all accruals awaiting approval. So when a manager goes to approve an accrual, they could do it, or a time off, they could do it directly from their phone too, because a lot of times team leads are on their apps as well. And when they do get a time off from an employee requesting time off, they'll get an alert and they'll get a little to do in their mailbox. And directly in here, when they go to approve a time off request, before they even approve it, they will be able to see the employee's time off count and see what they have and haven't taken and when they took those items. The manager will also be able to view already scheduled employees. So if it's blank, they're probably fine. But your managers will have a lot of insight before they even approve it to be able to see the items you want them to. And then, of course, if you want, managers and yourself will be able to view all the time off balances, all the liability your company is holding on to still. That's usually important for anybody financial. So we'll be able to help you with pulling reports on the liability for PTO, and where your company is on days remaining, and hours remaining. Uh, of course, managers and yourself will also be able to have a visual into the time off calendar as well. So they will be able to see all, I don't have anything in here, sorry, all the employees and where all the time off is. I'm going to skip over benefits, but you also gain performance. So you can do a lot with performance reviews. You can always do 30, 60, 90, annual reviews. These can auto kick off if you want them to. We can even have reminders sent to your managers, because we all know managers hate doing performance reviews. So we can have reminders going nonstop until they finish those items, and you will be able to see as a whole where everybody is in their performance process. You also can do goal setting and incident tracking, peer feedback, and succession planning. And we can set up a really great dashboard for you. Again, this is just what you get right out of the gate, but you'll be able to see all your employees and what violations they have and when. And then lastly, before I jump into payroll, just other items that I want to hit on that a lot of our service Titan clients use. Again, you could track all your certifications, credentials, trainings. You'll be able to have a dashboard of expired credentials, expired trainings, or close to expiration, so you could keep an eye on those as well. Workers' claims. So you can build all your workers' comp in the system. So these are all the claims that impact your workers' compensation or not. And you can populate all your OSHA reporting in here too. So I'm going to jump into a workers' claim that I built, but you'll notice all the lovely OSHA reporting. So you'll be able to track what the injury was, what was the cause, what was the body part, what was the nature. These terrify me, I swear. If God forbid there was a death, but if there was permanent disability, and then you'll be able to track the actual incident. Who was on premise? Where was it? Did it occur on premise or not? Was there a drug test that occurred? Was it negative or positive? Is it OSHA recordable? And of course, all your return to work and light duty information as well. So if you're putting your workers' claims in here, you'll be able to impact your workers' compensation, and we could help with your reporting off of that as well. And then you could also populate all your OSHA reports once a year. EEO, this system is great with growing with you. So if you're 100 plus, just know we have the EEO1 product. You may not be big enough now, but I tend to find there's a lot of acquisitions on the Service Titan side. So EEO1 could definitely be something that you might need, and it's built in the system already for you. You also gain a survey tool. You could survey your employees on anything you want. And then also something that is used heavily on the Service Titan side is asset management. So it's whatever you deem an asset. So I usually see tools a lot of times, company tools. I usually see vehicles, and then I usually see uniforms, because those are all things, when you terminate someone, that could be a task that goes to the manager, letting them know that, hey, you need to collect this stuff from the employee. So assets could be helpful. All right. So last and maybe most important, is payroll. So I'm going to kind of explain the Service Titan connection here. So first off, everything coming from Service Titan on that file, it's not just punches. It's all your labor distribution. So your business units, your jobs, appointments, all of those, you'll be able to see where all your dollars are going by labor distribution, and all your payroll trends as well. A couple things, most clients have some automation behind the general ledger. So if you want, we can build a general ledger in our system. We will need your chart of accounts. It is very normal for us to do this. And when you put it in the system, what will happen once you finalize payroll, we could populate a file for you, or we already have some pre-integrations like QuickBooks Online. That could just flow to QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Desktop, you need to upload a file. But we could produce a file or have it sync over depending on what integration you need. So make sure to ask your sales consultant on your accounting system. But really, it's very normal for our clients once they finalize payroll to either produce a general ledger automatically with an IAF file, or it's synced to QuickBooks Online. And so all that can be done once you finalize payroll, so you don't have to do any dual entry, essentially. What's also normal for our clients is if you do offer 401k, we can, depending on your vendor, so it's really up to your vendor. If your vendor can accept a 401k file from us, then we can have that automate for you too. Because if you offer 401k, all your matches, all your eligible wages, all those items will be put into our system. And when you finalize payroll, that 401k file could also go over to your vendor to where you could just double check the numbers and post it. So it's very normal for our clients to have a general ledger and a 401k flowing after payroll's finalized. Sorry, I couldn't think of the words. And one of our big items we just want to tell you is we will file all your payroll taxes. So all your payroll taxes, we will file all of them throughout the year, and we will reconcile them quarterly. So when we reconcile them, we will deploy those tax packets to you. Those tax packets you will receive quarterly, and you will always be able to see your historical ones in here as well, as long as we're filing them for you. But to process payroll, you'll come out here and click Process Payroll. It's really, all your regular payrolls will be out here. So if you're weekly, bi-weekly, all of them will be loaded out here. You can always add an off cycle. Like if you want to do like a bonus off cycle, holiday bonus off cycle, feel free. Just know that our deadlines for payroll finalization is if your pay date is Friday, our general guidelines is we need it by Wednesday afternoon. But to process payroll, you'll come out here and click Payroll Prep Process. And then just follow the prompts. It'll walk you through it. The very first thing is really just a report. So our system will auto prorate anything mid-pay period. So if it's a new hire or termination or base compensation change mid-pay period, then our system will auto prorate them. So it's just more telling you, hey, these things occurred this pay run. Can you please double check them and make sure it looks okay? And that's the first step. And you could just mark these as complete as you go, especially if you get pulled away a lot. That might be the better option. At least you know exactly where you were and what you finished. And then the next step is really you'll initiate payroll. When you initiate payroll, what this is doing is taking everything from that employee file. So scheduled earnings, scheduled deductions, tool deductions, uniform deductions, tax tables, and direct deposits. It just took all of that and threw it into your payroll for you. So 50% of your payroll is already done. And then the other 50% is right here. This is where the ServiceTitan connection comes in. So in ServiceTitan, you'll have a file that you'll download that already matches your system, our system. And you'll save it to your desktop and you'll upload it directly in here. This will have all your commissions, all your spiffs, your configurable payroll. It'll have all your labor distributions, all of your punches. And as soon as you upload that, it just takes a minute and it'll populate all your pay statements for you. And then really your payroll's ready. You could come just check everything, but you do have an option if you want to. I call this area the one-time, one payroll edit area. So let's just say you forgot and you need to add a commission to someone, or you forgot that you owed someone a bonus. You can quickly just add those items in within the system and save it. So what I'm trying to get to is you have full access to manually manipulate any pay statements that you need to. And of course, you can preview it as well to make sure everything is looking okay. But once you're done with those pieces, your payroll's ready. You just need to do all the pre-check reports before finalizing. So you have a lot of great pre-check reports. Employees not paid could be helpful. Any pay register is really helpful. So pay register by business unit, pay register by employee. You could come out here and you'll be able to see every single employee's earnings, deductions, taxes, and net. So gross to net, you'll be able to see every single employee. And then if you scroll all the way down, of course, we have totals as well, if you just want to audit the total areas from the import as well. And then lastly, the most important report to Inova is the payroll recap and funding. So this just tells you everything to load your bank account with. We will debit you this amount. So we will debit you for all the direct deposits we will file for you. We'll debit you for all the payroll taxes we will file for you. And then we'll debit you for all the vendor liabilities. So that's your garnishments, child support, because we could enter those for you and pay those for you. So it just gives you a total of everything that we'll be debiting you. And then also just shows a quick comparison from last payroll to this payroll, just to make sure you didn't accidentally do anything weird. So this is just a helpful report to load your bank account correctly. And then in the end, once you're good with all the pre-check, you will just come out here and click finalize payroll. And then at that point, that's where the automation picks up for your general ledger, if you would like, as well as a 401k connection. So that's really payroll there. And that's the end of my demo. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm actually going to share my face again. And then I'm going to give everyone